Wherever he was, Maurice remained in correspondence with Bhagavan. We have to understand that inwardly he was all the time in the presence of Bhagavan. In one of his letters to Bhagavan, he wrote, "The Maharishi is with me not only when I think of him, but also when I am not thinking of him. Otherwise, how do I live?" Appa Pant and Maurice started working together. You'll be surprised to know that Maurice's office was under the shade of a huge tree in a village. He lived in the villages he visited and worked very hard for them. Maurice heard about Mahatma Gandhi's deep interest in bringing decentralized democracy into the villages in order to empower them. He set out to meet Mahatma Gandhi to learn more about the process. Mahatma Gandhi took to Maurice immediately. He addressed Maurice only as Bharatananda. Everyone in his sevashram addressed him in the same manner. Gandhi found that Maurice was not only a hard worker, but also an inventor who was using the Indian charkha. By way of blessing, Mahatma Gandhi asked Maurice, "Why do you not invent something by which we can produce yarn more quickly?" Maurice immediately created a new charkha called Dhanush Takli. The extraordinary thing about it was that one could produce 3 times the yarn with the same energy that was spent on the traditional charkha. Mahatma Gandhi was, needless to say, extremely pleased. Whether Maurice was with Bhagavan, Mahatma Gandhi or J. Krishnamurti, his method of first questioning, experimenting and experiencing the truth at every level and only then accepting and following it remained the same. Such was his nature. This is exactly how he led the 75 villages that he was reforming. He loved the poor, uneducated villagers and was so compassionate towards them that they felt purified in his presence. In fact, they addressed him as Swami. Maurice was successful in his venture in the villages, and very soon the whole of India became aware of the kind of life Maurice was leading. By this time, Bhagavan and Mahatma Gandhi had dropped their bodies. This was a great setback for Maurice, but he decided to rededicate himself to the cause they had taken up, because he felt he was still on stage and had to play the outward game. Maurice went to Varanasi to stay in the Krishnamurti institution there. He implemented the reform programs in the surrounding villages. Krishnamurti's followers were also great admirers of Buddhism, since the teachings of the Buddha and Krishnamurti were similar in many aspects. Senior followers of Krishnamurti, like Achyut Patwardhan, became very close to Maurice. This also happened to be during the Tibetan turmoil, when the communists in China were in the mood for seizing power. When Maurice heard about the tumult, he swung into action, because at that time Appa Pant had just become the governor of Sikkim. Without wasting time, he immediately went to Sikkim and met Appa Pant. He told Appa Pant with gusto, "You are going to be of great use to me. We have an important mission to accomplish here, because we have to save His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all the old Buddhist manuscripts, and thousands of Tibetans." Characteristic of him, Maurice immediately took Appa Pant to Delhi to meet Jawaharlal Nehru, the then Prime Minister of India. Maurice, the diligent worker, already by this time had the roadmap to successfully carry out the rescue plan. Both Maurice and Achyut Patwardhan related to me how they had worked a plan for the escape of His Holiness. It was eventually the blueprint laid down by Maurice that Nehru followed in getting His Holiness out of Tibet. They fed the Chinese government with wrong information on the flight of His Holiness, and thus the Tibetan guru and his devotees were saved. The day His Holiness escaped to India, so did hundreds of fellow Tibetans. His Holiness came with many old Buddhist manuscripts, now preserved in the museum in Sarnath. Thus, thousands of priceless manuscripts were saved from the destructive hands of communist China. When the Dalai Lama entered India, Maurice planned it in such a manner that Achyut Patwardhan would meet the Dalai Lama and give him the details. Yet there is no mention of Maurice's name in any of the books related to either the Dalai Lama's escape or the smuggling in of Buddhist manuscripts from Tibet. I have never seen a person as self-effacing as Maurice. Similarly, there was no mention of Maurice's name in the Maharishi's Gospel originally. Only now is his name being mentioned. At the time of the Tibetan struggle, Jawaharlal Nehru very bluntly said, "My hands are tied." Maurice immediately travelled all over India, spending his own money in order to find refuge for hundreds of Tibetan refugees. Maurice sought cooler places for the refugees and established 5 settlements. If the Tibetans enjoy a peaceful existence in India today, it is because of this Polish mystic saint whose name is not mentioned anywhere. The wonderful dialogues recorded in the Maharishi's Gospel took place in the old hall. Discovering the capability of this man in bringing a semblance of order even in the most chaotic situations, Nehru requested Maurice to take over the Khadi movement. It had initially been started by Gandhi, but was later in total disarray. This meant that Maurice had to go to Mumbai. Here he stayed with an old friend of his, Miss Petit. By Bhagavan's grace, I had the opportunity to meet Maurice in Mumbai. I had earlier met him at the ashram in the 1960s during the rare visits that he made. Again, I met him when I went to Mumbai in the 70s to collect funds for the advertisements for Ramanashramam's journal, The Mountain Path. Maurice then told me, "While your body is engaged in running the ashram, your heart should be totally settled in that pure awareness of truth. Never miss that, whatever you are doing." We used to have beautiful private conversations. Once Maurice confessed to me in all seriousness, "The burning regret for us is that probably full advantage was not taken of those happy and precious days when Bhagavan was with us physically, eating, talking, laughing, and openly available to us all. Reality was there in abundance in our midst for the taking, and anyone could take it. But we enclosed ourselves in our false humility, in procrastination and false excuses, so we took a cupful when the ocean was at our feet. On yet another occasion, he prodded me on, just to give me a push. See, Bhagavan is not the person, he is the teaching. As the teaching, he is fully available to you. In addition to whatever work you are doing, plunge within and taste awareness inwardly. That awareness is our Bhagavan."